Good morning. Happy Monday. What's going on, everybody? All right. Futures down. What happened last week? We had quite the Friday. As in, market was pretty up, wasn't it? Take a look. Come back here. It's kind of hard to look at this chart. Uh, I mean, if you think about it, in terms of the week we had, and then into the week we ended up having, from start to finish, the completely two different stories, right? And so, again, what's going to happen after a really big buy event with Thursday and Friday both exceeding over 2%? You're going to have some take profit coming into Monday. This also with, of course, some of the anxiety and fears of whatever the hell was going on with the block trades on Friday. Viacom, Discovery, we saw it with Bidu, we saw it with TME, some different Chinese tickers that were linked to whatever group that was from the Tiger management that was liquidating assets. Now, we obviously placed some really fun bets on those. Where they are right now, they're little bit jaded from the open. If you take a look in the pre-market, you have sort of this, I would say, I think no matter how this looks in pre-market, there's going to be an expectation that this is going to get some bid from the open. Now, if you look at the position that I put on for bets, and then anywhere, if you put bets anywhere in the low, right? That's what we were trying to do for some bets. Even just from a historical standpoint, usually you're going to recover some of those points. So worst case scenario, you should be able to get some sort of rebound out of it. But the thing to think about here is that we have an event, we have sort of this block selling event that no one really understands in the moment. What we do understand was that there's offerings happening back here on the 23rd. So the reason why I'm going into this is because this whole thing here is really important for this week because no one really knows, and that fear is, think about what's going on in the market. The market's going towards all-time high right now, being very bid. And when that's happening, you also have these things going on, which causes anxiety while you're still going bid, which is exactly what we want in the market and what we've talked about the market's already doing anyway. If the market goes all-time high and everyone's still anxious that the market could come down, right? And now all of a sudden you actually have something that causes it, what's going to happen over here? If we were bidding price like this the whole time, you get an offering, a share, again, just raising capital, raising $3 billion of capital. Okay, pretty reasonable price action. And then you have all this, right? We finally find out on Friday these are block trades, right? We find out this is block trades. Same with Discovery, same with things like TME, right? So let me put up, these are all block trades from all through here, right? And then TME as well, which we see with that big candle starting over here, right? This is all block trades starting from Wednesday. But we don't really know that, right, until Friday. And really not until over the weekend that we get specifics. So how much, again, when we talk about selling, usually you get all the selling out of the way at once. You don't really wait. Is there going to be more selling here? You wouldn't wait until over the weekend. That's not exactly how things work. And so in terms of a fear of these, again, it makes sense to take some of the chances down here. Where it's going to go from open, I have no idea. And I'm completely fine and excited about the chances of a bet here turning into a ridiculous trade. So again, this is completely a risk in the bet, so it's important to understand that. But it's also important to understand that this is linked to a liquidation of shares and has nothing to do with the actual price. And I think people like that. People like to take chances on those kind of things. If we take a look at anything that's sort of happened with other tickers, we've learned that in events like this, the amount of contracts that get picked up because of this sort of movement leads to a significant gamma event. And so when you get close to expiration, prices will surge as the market makers have to buy the underlying. We're not that far away from April monthlies. We're pretty close. And we're really in the proximity of a gamma event anyway. And so with price dropping this drastically, it's I mean, it's going to be really easy. I mean, not easy. It's going to be really interesting to see what exactly happens here. The market's just again, the market is just going. Even the growth side is coming back. Now I know I posted this here. This would have been the worst case scenario. If if this is even coming back, and again, we're down pre-market because these are big days from Friday. Even if tech is coming back here, there's a lot of points to gain here. But the story again is still that the Dow itself is just continuing to go anyway. Value is continuing to go. If you look at small caps got beat to shit in this kind of movement coming back. We keep seeing this, right? You have this really big loss that comes in, this violent selling, followed by a violent reversal every time, right? And we sort of understand what exactly is happening here because as the selling happens, there's just a significant quantity of demand coming in that actually causes price to go past where it was even selling from in the first place. People that were selling, you have again this very ironic sort of buying high, selling low, back to pushing up to the high. This very strange price action, but it's continued to continue to happen. So again, as we go in the market further, these sort of plays we're going to take advantage of just like we've done on other plays. I think it's important to understand that a lot of the trades that we've made significant gains on are the ones that have pulled back the most and oversold the most, and we bought with anxiety and fear. Those are really the ones that think of all of the value plays. They were beat up and terrible forever, and we took chances on them in high probability situations and traded them to the upside and get significant gains from them. Now, as prices have gone into the all-time high, right? S&P's going all-time high, Dow. As they go into all-time high, we're of course taking breakout trades. But those breakout trades have also produced their own levels of anxiety as they come out of the all-time high. When you look at the S&P, right? It's sort of in the middle of value and growth. Even this sort of move here, there's a lot of that same feeling we always talk about where it always feels the same, that there's something bad is going to happen, right? You don't exactly know where the point of no return is or where the point it's going to reverse is. We have some strategies to figure that out, but it's always going to feel the same no matter how far down the line you are. Back here, we were losing our minds. Over here, we were losing our minds. Here, we were losing our minds, right? It's always the same. Over here, right? It's always the same. And so again, we've seen the market's ability to be resilient in all these times. So again, even though we're coming to this week with a new event from Friday, certainly a new event, understanding these block trades, it's important again that we remember what just occurred from Thursday to Friday. We had a great 2 days of trading from sort of our preemptive going bid in the market. That again, you're going to get some take profit here. It's important not to let that story from just a few tickers being liquidated completely take over our mindset of the market itself, right? Our bias should not be changed by one hedge fund, right? Being liquidating their shares. Again, it doesn't even matter how many, even if it was a smaller amount overall, which it is, it's the way in which it happened. It all sold at the same time, so of course prices go down a lot quicker. Reminder, that happened while the market was going bid, right? The market closed at a time, basically. Market closed at a time from the day. So again, even though there's that anxiety, look at TME. So TME is opening 8% higher. The same thing was happening here. Right? This is opening 8% higher, which, again, I'm expecting to happen on Bidu. I'm expecting it to happen on Discovery, Viacom, that these are all going to basically perform the same maneuver that we've seen time and time again. I mean, it's kind of silly. It's why? I mean, I'm not really sure, but this is kind of what we're doing, and so we're going to keep trading that. I mean, it's not like, again, it's just as crazy not to trade it, right? If you think the market's crashing and you don't want to trade it because of that, you're just as crazy for not trading it, right? That mindset will always hurt you by not being involved. So again, as we continue to trade through what some might seem, rough waters or, oh, you don't know what's going to happen. okay, we're both in the same situation, and price is pretty clear, so we're going to keep trading. It's not like we can just all of a sudden make up imaginary stories of the market. Again, the S&P is never going to go down 20% in a day, right? The S&P will never go down 20% in a day. The average, that this basically is saying, the average is never going to go down 20% in a day. A block trade on one ticker or a few tickers has no effect on the market. Even if one of the mega caps, one of the funniest things that you can do for like the math behind the average, right? Let's take a look at Apple, right? Apple's the largest the largest company in let's just say the Nasdaq, right? Because it affects the Nasdaq more. If all of Apple, if the price went to zero, how much of a percent effect do you think that would have on the Nasdaq? It would basically have no effect at all. You do the math, it would look like a normal day. It would look like a normal day if all other things were held equal. Apple went to zero, literally zero. It would just affect it in the same way, in the same variance of every other day, right? So again, these things are, unless they are actually connected in some way, they're not connected at all, right? And we've already seen that prices are not connected whatsoever. So it's more than anything just really interesting and something to take advantage of and to be mindful of and look at and find some sort of, maybe some sort of lesson to take away from it, how to attack it, because again, during that moment, nobody really knows. That's the whole, that's what makes it so interesting, right? Is none of us really know in the moment. We can be watching our candles, but we don't really know, do we? Like we really have no idea, right? And so that's what makes it so much fun. So again, as we get more information, that's where, as you're building upon it, that's where the critical moments come in, right? So this morning's gonna be really interesting. I'm not gonna be here for all the morning. Not sure when I'm getting out of here, but I have to leave pretty early in the morning. But I'm gonna be here for a little bit. Be back for the afternoon. Let me see where Viacom is. 367. This is at break even. We're getting some of it. It looks like it's going over to the China side first. If we look, so everything's about 0.5% down, which is pretty damn good considering the Friday. Asia was up. Europe's mixed right now, but yields are down. I mean, those are not really moving right now. Don't really see much of anything. If we look at the dollar coming into the day, so again, if we look at our macros, basically where we left it. The question here again is, are we going to continue appreciating? And the answer is, I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter. We're sort of in a risk-on mentality no matter which way the dollar works, whether it goes up or down, right? It's important to remember that not everything is always correlated. Sometimes when the dollar's going down, we're correlated, right? Because money supply is increasing, dollar value goes down. Right now, money supply is still increasing, comparatively to other currencies even. But again, there's a lot of different expectations in terms of inflation, the way the yields are working, the way in which spending works. These things can have lags. Right now, we're certainly not correlated because the market's going up while the dollar's going up. Well, those things don't add up. Same with when gold is going up and the dollar's going up, or they're supposed to be opposites, right? These things do not need to always be correlated. So this isn't really a thing. And same with the volatility, right? Well, we keep seeing that the spot VIX is just completely off. We're not even getting a downwards move, which again, this should be at least coming back down into this level. If we're going down again, even the spot VIX is completely off on the math. It's not correlated, right? And again, it's one of the most important things to see is when we know when we're not correlated, when we can't use macros. Again, we can't really use the dollar, we can't use spot VIX. What we're relying on are those implied volatilities in the different markets. So implied volatility in the bond market and implied volatility in the equity market, which, thankfully we have a pretty good read on what exactly the market's doing, which is, again, that the stock market is the derivative of the options market, right? And so we can really use the options to understand, because every time the quantity of calls goes up to a peak, what happens to the underlying? It starts to appreciate, right? And usually it comes off of a lot of selling, right? And so it's this question of up here, what exactly happens up here? Do we continue past the all-time high? Well, every time we've had a pullback, we've continued to the all-time, creating new all-time highs so far, right? We're doing that on the Dow right now. Is this not going to continue in putting a new all-time high on here, like we've done every other time that we pulled back? I mean, that would be the first time in a while that we haven't, right? Every single pullback has led to new all-time highs. You can look anywhere on any chart, any of the averages, but besides the NASDAQ, I guess you could say, but even the NASDAQ, besides this most recent term with the value transition, has done the same. I mean, again, the answer is not to bet against the market. That's just the answer. The thing that you could do is just hang out on the sidelines and do nothing if you're unsure. But the worst thing you can do, again, is to be against the market. There's times where you can do short-term trades where you're straddling, or you have a very you have two levels that again are very strong levels that you can short from resistance down to support, those type of things. But even that, again, it's not like we buy on support and then when we take profit and sell on the resistance that we're also shorting from the resistance. We never do that. There's a reason why we don't trade back in between levels. Only if the levels were so strong and it just kept doing that. But usually if something keeps happening, if you make a trade that everyone else makes, then you're not going to make money, right? There's plenty of trades that are basically the same yield as buying bonds, which to me is a waste of time. What are you going to buy? What are you going to, again, if you make a trade that everyone else makes, you're not making a yield, and it's a waste of capital, and it's a waste of sort of energy and feelings and everything else, right? So at the end of the day, you have to do something that's a little bit, more directional and is going to have some sort of impact, risk reward wise. Now, things that are down this morning, we have banks pulled back a little bit. So XLF, what are we at? 130. So we're up only about 20 basis points now from Friday. Obviously, big day from Thursday, Friday. So take profit there. Also, the linkage, the two names here are Morgan Stanley and Goldman, who were the ones that were a part of the block trade. I don't know if that's like some weird, news trading, that since now we heard that it's Goldman and Morgan that were doing the selling, that we're selling those two. Again, that would be just some news trading. There's zero reason why their price would be down because of that. So again, they just facilitated a block trade. So why that, again, these are things that are not linked to price. So it's, again, even if it was a fundamental reason instead of some technical reason, that still doesn't make sense, right? And so that's just, again, some news trading. These things happen. Is that going to dictate the actual value, the actual price? No. These things happen. Like the Suez Canal is possibly being no longer blocked. Woohoo! All right. I mean, let's take a look at the crude. Again, an important aspect of what we've been doing. Where are we at? Well, we're kind of mixed still, but we're still uptrending. We're still uptrending on price. So whether or not the canal being blocked was going to cause prices to increase, or whether prices were going to increase anyway because they pulled back so much, I guess we'll never really know, because we're just kind of doing a mixed bag of it. So whether what are we moving because the canal's opening? Were we moving up because the canal was closed? We're kind of just doing the same thing for both. So again, it's kind of, I think the way to look at this, so again, we're talking about this for the energy trade. The way to look at this is that price was going to be coming up off this pullback, whether the canal was blocked or not. The only thing that's changed because of that is the spread in sort of the deviation between the high and the low of the day, right? A little bit more volatility because of it, maybe a little bit more news trades in there. But in the end of the day, this was going to happen anyway. And so all that happened was due to the canal being blocked. You get some more volatility in there, right? So, again, maybe for this day you can add in a little bit more there because that's when it first started to matter. And so, again, news trading is just a very short-term sort of intraday approach. You don't really see it there now. And again, it would have been silly if we kind of, look at COVID. We barely priced COVID once, and that was it. After February and March of 2020, it was basically over in the market. No one cared anymore, right? We acted like we cared, but we didn't actually care, right? Do you think we really care about a boat and a canal? Let's just be honest. It's just fun to joke about and think about, right? So at the end of the day, that's not going to stop us. So the energy trades there, bank trade, again, is getting affected by now the block trades. There's so many damn things to keep up with, which is exactly why you try to put all these headlines together and form some story of your own. All you're going to do is get lost in the weeds, and you're making up your own story now, and it's going to have no effect and have no helpfulness of your trading. Which is why we don't trade news or try to catch headlines or come up with, oh yeah, here's some research. And no, we're going to trade the price, and the price will tell us if something's happening. I don't need to read an article to know that something happened here on Viacom. I wonder what happened. I don't know. It looks like there might have been something that might have happened here, but I guess I'll have to go look on MSN.com to see what exactly happened here. Quite a bit of points. You don't really need to see it to know when you can just watch price, right? That's just an extra step, right? Otherwise, a lot of names that we are a part of are up pre-market. BA, all of aerospace and defense, right? Continuing this week. This BA move is pretty large. 2.5% now. Pre-market is a little much for this ticker. So yes, I guess on aerospace and defense. I'm not really sure what all that buying is, but that should be interesting for open, because you don't really ever see. Look at the price, right? You don't really ever see that pre-market action unless you have momentum. So that's going to be interesting. So again, this aerospace and defense move has been one of sort of the top moves that we've been a part of, especially on capturing breakouts. In terms of where that move's going, all of those tickers are moving together. It's definitely going to be interesting. Other things to note are some of the travel tickers, something like AAL up 1% here. Again, all the ticker, everything's doing this sort of rally off of the pullback. Obviously, we saw that Thursday, Friday when we were buying. The continuation here, though, on some of these is, again, it stands out, and it's important to use this as a bit of confirmation that if there's this much bid coming in pre-market into this morning, then that should give you an understanding of strength. We just had a big Thursday and Friday of buying. We had a pretty crazy Friday in terms of block trading that we didn't know what was going on, but the market was still bid. And now this morning, you have the average down. You have the sectors in which we're bullish on being up. That's an important thing to look at, right? It's important to see some of those names. Facebook's up a little bit here. I don't really care about that move. Everything else stands from what we just talked about earlier, but it's going to be interesting. Again, we're not going to change our tone. We're buyers. We're in a lot of positions. In terms of, there's not really anything I'm looking to. Again, I'm not going to just exit positions. So again, if you want to take profit because you're up quite a bit here, and maybe you're opening a little bit lower, and you want to secure the profits, no one's going to be critiquing that. Of course, I talk about pushing winnings, but never going to tell anyone that you took profits and that was a terrible decision. Of course not. Be happy. Take the money home. It's so important to take it home, right? I would say, though, that there's about nothing that, even opening lower, that I want to take profit on. I definitely want to see how much more we can get out of this week. Again, I'm not pushing for just today. I'm pushing for the whole week, pushing for next week. Even if you get some pullbacks here, those long-term positions definitely have legs on them if we continue the trend. Even if, again, you get a pullback similar to this, maybe a little bit shorter term, some sort of maybe two days or so at max. If we have a pullback, then I'll push through those, and a lot of those long terms. Take profit on the short terms, of course, but I am really looking to squeeze as much out of the positions we have as possible. I think when you look at some of these things, we definitely have it. And again, we bought on such a low over here on so many tickers because we were so aggressive last week. Again, we get stopped out a lot. I'm sure a lot of you did as well. But we bought pretty damn close to the low here on Thursday and continued on Friday. So we don't, again, it would suck if, it would suck if it came all the way down. That's not really what we're looking at here, though, is it? And again, if that's going to happen, then that's going to happen. Then it wasn't meant to be, and then we'll get the next one, right? Because again, every time it's not like it's going to happen every time, but think about it. Every time we buy as low as we can and buy on support, price goes up, right? You're going to be able to catch something. You're going to make some money, right? No one here is going to lose money from entering a trade down here. And if you do, you got to stop trading, right? Something just really wrong. If you bought down here on any of these tickers and you're down here on Monday, again, there's something wrong with the options you're buying. No one here is like that, right? No one here is like that. We had a great week last week, even though it was mixed. And I know some of you had a hard time at the beginning of the week. Looks like a great week to trade, at least. A great week to trade because there's a lot of interesting things going on. The market's trending. There's not really any events that are going on that are going to change sort of the environment. Again, there's some eyes on sort of the spending side from Biden, but those are all good things in the sense of a bullish market, right? Not that we care. We're just trading price in front of us now, right? Just trading in front of us now. What do we got? We got 3 minutes. I'm ready. GRWG is up 1% as well. That's nice from that take profit from Friday. Let me load this way. Oh, actually, let me put it over to the recent tickers as well. I posted a lot of tickers over the weekend, guys. Some of you are going, "Hey, man, can you just like not post as many charts?" You don't have to look at them. It's really okay. I did post quite a bit of tickers. What do we have down here? That's what I was looking at. Oh, right, FRO. FRO was down from the big day on Friday. That's what it was. That we'll see. If that's not bid from open, then that's probably get out. All right. All right, folks. Let's do it. Let's do it. But yeah, I posted a lot of stuff, so you didn't look at everything. I don't blame you. Just imagine my eyes had to look at it. I know you guys just want to watch Viacom and Discovery anyway, so honestly, should just that's what this day should be dedicated to. I'm interested too. I have better diamond hands than you guys do, that's for sure. I don't even follow the meme. But this bet was entirely surrounded by that meme, that's for sure. I'm gonna hodl. Where is it? DW's up 4%. Have to wait. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Discovery. Let's go. I love how the Discovery and Viacom trades completely break even each other. They did on Friday, and now they're doing it again this morning. Okay. One's up, the other one's down. Looks good. This is, yeah. I'm not even going to look at that trade, actually. I'll just let that go until, like, lunch, and then I'll look at it, because it's very sporadic. Okay, Facebook continues, so that's good for growth. TME continues its holding. Discovery, we are up 5.5. So that trade has paid so far. Oh my goodness, boys. Oh, how silly. Very silly. I mean, I really hope it just comes back down. No one should have to profit off of that. Cute. Okay. Growth. Waiting to see. Facebook is up. The Chinese tickers are up as well. BA is also heading towards 3.5%. That's just absolutely blown out of the water. So that continues. S&P is green. Dow green. Value. And I don't mean green on the day, but heading up from its open. Small caps. Everything that opened lower is at least showing some signs of life. See if that continues or not. Again, a lot of this is going to be tied to the bank side, whether or not this is going to come back from here. So again, for the day to be green on the average, you're probably going to need this to come back. Energy is a little bit closer. We'll see. But again, for the day to be green on an average, these have to be green. So since we know where the red is, that again is how we can judge the average itself, right? So again, even though markets are down, we understand where that value is coming from, right? We are getting bid here on the pot stock, so we're finally getting some of that news digested. Again, we had this rally, then sold the news. Now we're going bid again. Again, this is why we don't trade the news. We like the stock. We're bullish. We're going to keep trading the price because the price is definitely trading towards the upside. So I also posted the MJ ETF. This is at break even right now. Definitely chances there to grab that. If you're not already in one, get different exposure. It doesn't. It's kind of silly to some of the, whether it's America, Canada, the shit almost doesn't matter because again, it's like GRWG. All this company is a merger and acquisition company. They're like a cash hound. They just buy up companies. So is it really like does it really matter? They're just gonna buy everybody. So these kind of things, again, when you try to go to the fundamental side, it just doesn't fucking matter. So it's got the name marijuana attached to it. That's it. Weed. Okay, that's what it is. Got it. So up on Team E, we'll see if this holds value here. This is really what the question is. Are these tickers going to hold their value? That's the question. Billy just keeps going. Billy is the better ticker from our understanding. Has always been the better ticker. Now this has been beat up for some time, so we'll see how China does. Again, we have tried to make this China trade work, or we really stopped for weeks. We stopped for weeks, and then I finally last week talked about we want to finally make the China trade work, and then it lost 10% right after I said that. So that didn't really help with the no motivation to make the Chinese tickers work. So I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to see, right? Obviously, we took some ideas in there. The TME whole event is a fun one, and it's tied to this whole thing. But again, for an overall understanding, we have none. We have none. So that's an important note. Twitter continues. We're bullish on Twitter. Took the Twitter trade. Talked. I mean, we talked about this plenty. Twitter, Facebook, whether or not Snap will continue with this move as well is a question, but it is the same chart. It is the same chart. So put two and two together, I would say that this would also be up. So whether you want to make some sort of fundamental thing or not, I mean, it's just the sector itself, right? W continues. That was a very good trade from last week. We'll see how this goes. NBIX, I'm looking for that to go. I don't for bios, again, any bio trade, if they don't, again, if you get into a trade from an open or something, if they're not moving, then don't really want to have my capital sitting in a bio if it's not moving in a direction. Otherwise, you're just getting exposed to volatility that's unnecessary. You can trade something like K. We don't have it on this layout. The K chart they just posted, things like this. Again, the value trades, I mean, if I'm going to get direction out of something consistently, then I'm just going to trade that, right? No reason for me to dick around. The Dow overall, basically just BA. Again, banks are coming down. Wait for those. Everything else is break even. Everything else is break even on. Look at the Dow. Getting led by EA, which is a big factor of it. Retail stores. We saw DBI with a lot here. Let's see. VNet's a pain in the ass. Home building continues. That's nice. That's a tough trade to manage. So wait, okay. Put on the SPY 5. Very bid start for sure. Very bid start for sure. I would not have expected to continue at least. I would expect take profit to start, which again is showing more bullishness in the market than you would think. I think there's, but I would say I do think there's some. I've talked about this a little bit with patterns as well. That every time we sort of look at a breakout, it continues. There isn't like this idea of taking profit off of the breakout after a big buy day. There's this continuation factor instead, and we've seen that in the market as well, where you get a lot of buying, and it is turning back into that momentum trading of going to chase, understanding that you'll have more buyers. Again, that can lead to bad things, but it doesn't lead to a bad thing until you get there, right? And you don't know where that is. So again, if you're going to continue from a Monday going bid, then I'm all for it. As long as I get someone buying behind me. That's what we do on the speculative side. Met says X. X, obviously, I mean, I think I said on Friday, I don't think we have a better trade. Let me put it on this layout. I don't think we've had a better, like, consistent trade that we trade consistently, like a multi-trade, not just one trade, but that we can trade off of every support, every breakout. I would say it's definitely the best trade. It ties into our value idea. It ties into infrastructure, and it's just an all-around great moving ticker. We love movement. These are big candles, a lot of movement, a lot of chances, and yeah, I mean, even it continue. I talked about it on Friday. We're not going to take profit. I took some of the short terms I talked about to cover some costs. Other than that, you keep pushing it, and again, we don't get. I talked about this. You don't. It's not good to always use historical understanding of a ticker, but almost every single Monday here, we will push up bid from the open, and so you have a chance to still see if we're going to continue or not. Continue past this high or take profit. Here's the other Monday candle. You open, and then you have some dicking around up there at the high until you take profit. Generally, when you're coming off of this, you do have more chances to keep looking, and so, again, we're always going to push that trade over the weekend, so, I mean, again, value is continuing off the open here, so to be expected. And again, it doesn't matter if yields are up or down for value. This was kind of makes it a good trade, is that there's just going to be fucking spending, right? $3 trillion infrastructure plan. I mean, what do you think these, even the fundamental traders and everybody else is getting, a little excited down there. So again, this is going to see buying. All of these are going to see buying. There is no way around appreciation in prices, right? Inflation or not, what are you going to do? Also, I also want to mention some of the ideas of all the prices increasing to levels that have not been reached before as we get into all-time highs. It's important to remember that everyone is a trader now. Everyone's an investor now. Everybody wants to be a part of the market. That in of itself is demand that's going to cause prices to increase. It's really important, and again, it's a concept I didn't talk about enough last year when we had all the new Robinhood traders, is why are prices increasing from just these random traders? Because the fact they fucking exist. That's all. It's the fact that they're there. You're gonna increase prices because you have higher demand trying to buy something. That's it. There's only so much supply, right? As soon as everyone wants to buy the same thing, it's going to cause prices to increase, right? It doesn't need to all be at once. Sometimes it is. just overall, though, it will cause prices to continue to increase, right? And probably at a higher pace than in a historical context, right? So again, we can see that especially now. And again, it's going to take some time for that. So we're seeing more of it now. The volatility being, in a sense, higher of how much intraday. Again, that's just the new demand. That's all. Twitter is really doing it. Retail stores continue as well. Very big day for retail stores so far. Okay. This KBR trade's silly. Pretty silly. Meme stocks continue as well. Yeah, I mean, all of retail stores again continue. I mean, it's the same story this week. Same story. Yeah, this K trade has again, this is the sort of the, I guess, the lie about value is the movement. That's for sure. This is only 5%. It's a little over 5%. And that's the, I don't know, the irony of value trades is how low a percentage is on the underlying. It's the same fucking thing on the options, right? Doesn't make it quite literally doesn't make a difference what the percent is on the underlying. It's just whatever the context is around the relative movement, whatever the volatility is, which is why I talk so much about we're just betting on more volatility. We're betting on more movement than the week before. That's what gets paid on options. You're betting on speed and value, the price. Again, you take this trade anywhere in here, you're talking about 100% trade. You're not talking about it being smaller because the underlying is a smaller value. No, that's not how it works. So this trade, and I've talked about all of these, all of these tickers: Pepsi, K, Dr. Pepper. Doesn't it seem silly now? In hindsight, Capital would say, well, that's pretty silly. Why would anyone buy that? I mean, I'm thinking the same damn thing. I mean, why? I mean, we take this Pepsi trade. We haven't had to do anything. I haven't even looked at it. Haven't had to look at it. I mean, I'm gonna react at this. I'm bringing it up because we're gonna react at this resistance if there's something there. But again, I talk about food and beverages, the side of distribution, and then also I threw it into the transportation side. A lot of those transportation tickers that we saw last week. It's just again. I mean, what is there? Is there something change? Did something change? Was there something completely fundamentally different with last week and this week? Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. I highly doubt something changed. This is a pretty nice trade so far, actually. How you want them to look. They don't always look that good, though. Rad, I'm looking for that to come. We're there. KNX continues. What do we say? We have two converging trend lines at 51.60. Huh. That's quite a bit of value. That's actually not that far away. Okay, never mind. Okay, well, that's pretty reasonable then. Up to 51.5 or so. Okay. The comeback on COM. EA continues again. We have all these, again, all all the growth side of tickers that had this big downtrend into this sort of, I guess you can call it confidence boosting support. Again, just dicking around in this whole level of supply. The coming out of there factor of breaking the resistance is what we're looking for on all those tickers, right? All of those tickers. Oh yeah, here's the KDP, the Dr. Pepper trade. Again, all these the food and beverage ones are definitely interesting. Be just looking like the rest of the market. Had a big day on Friday. See if that continues. So Discovery is still up on the break even. The options are actually doing pretty well. Viacom is down. Viacom is down 4%. But it's not selling just from the pre-market. I would say both of those mean bid. That's just what I would say based on what we saw on TME. TME is the ticker that was part of that. That started to take profit from the open, but I think the fact that it was there alone means somebody was willing to buy that pre-market before they even saw any price action. Somebody was willing to buy that before they saw anything today. So I think that alone, and again, you would do it. You would do it on this, and you would do it on Bidu because you did see some price action over on the Asia side, right? You would do it here, and also you do it there because it's not fucking Viacom and Discovery, right? These are sort of outlying tickers. The fact that it happened on that ticker there, I think it's going to be enough to say that there's someone out there. I would say the market, not someone. The market is willing to buy. I'm gonna bag hold it. So I'm a long-term investor until April monthly date. Good. How many days? I got 16 plus. Get 19 days. Do it for the memes. Let's see. Really very nice. We just continue on retail stores. I'm not exact. I mean, again, we just keep letting those run. We're not gonna guess. I think some of them are up a lot, and it might seem like a good opportunity to take some profit on those. But I'm just gonna let those run. They wouldn't be going bid if they weren't heading somewhere. I would say, based on those charts, at least, have we seen them recently? And the meme stocks continue. Someone's willing to play. Chewy's an interesting one because this has been such a mess over here. So part of the same tickers making this move. Oh, it's just such a mess. Probably not enough movement. I don't know that we need to add any more positions to that idea anyway. Facebook almost 2%. You gotta love it. Where are we on the T trade? T. Oh, up 0.5%. Oh, the trend is intact. What a trend line right there. I wouldn't have it any other way. That's our trend line right there, baby. It's a little off, right? Little off. Beautiful. What am I looking for? Sell side. Anything interesting? The Credit Suisse move is funny. Again, news. I mean, nobody's been in this fucking trade forever, but That one's definitely funny. I'm not sure if I'd buy that. It's not like the other tickers where I mean funny in the sense that like there's an opportunity there that doesn't really present the same thing. So maybe it's not funny. Never mind. But news trading again for kind of whatever reason. Really nothing on the sell side to take advantage of, I would say. Sun powered down is interesting, but about halfway through that candle makes sense. I guess there's not really anything interesting on this side. Semiconductors is worthwhile to mention. A lot of this again is coming from the big day on Friday. How you manage this and how you continue the trade is, of course, it's gonna all be up to everyone, every man for themselves, every trader for themselves, because it's really easy to again get spooked on a move like that. I would just have to see more. Like I said this morning, I would have to see more. I can't just see that take profit and then exit my positions that I opened from Thursday. It just doesn't really make sense, because otherwise it's like if I do that and I have to, if I take profit here and then price does continue, then I'm gonna have to buy back in, and it just doesn't really it doesn't really work into the plan, because if I know I'm gonna buy back in anyway, then I might as well just stay in, right? It's for the value, right? Still up in the position, right? Still up in the position. And if I'm going to buy back in up here anyway, then why am I going to sell here? Why would I sell here just to buy in higher? Sell low, buy high? That doesn't make sense, right? So again, I'm willing to risk a little bit more and then get pushed down further and have to exit the trade, possibly even at a stop out, for the reason that price isn't going to just stop moving. I'm going to be able to see more price, and so I would rather it come back down so that I can just keep pushing the price up, right? Or I'm saying I'll let it come down to where it is now so that I can push the price up, because that's where all the value comes from anyways, that I'm going to need to make price movement. But we all make those decisions differently, right? X, we continue. Retail stores are just adding. Twitter stopped a little bit, but I think that opening action definitely tells a story. Definitely tells the story. Same with Facebook moving. Not really any connections to any of these tickers besides, again, their sector. Anything to mention on this side? Just continuations. Really continuations. These few trades here at the top have definitely turned out pretty well. MFGP from Friday is definitely, in terms of a trade, I mean, it just is completely opposite to anything else. KBR is basically the same. It just doesn't really have it doesn't fit in with anything else. It's just kind of its own thing. My kind of thing. My kind of style. VNet, it's just a pain in the ass. I'm not sure we're ever gonna get that trade right. Healthcare just continues. Anthem, United. Anthem, I mean, it's the same order that keeps going on still. I've talked about this. I mean, I bring it up all the time, but on something like a big healthcare company like this, right? You watch the book, it's the same order that gets placed every single day, same time. I'm talking about multiple different orders, right? You get the same institution orders every single day. There's a reason why it looks the way it does, right? It just keeps trending in the same way. Why does it keep like basically increasing by the same price unless something else, like additional volume comes in or less volume comes in? Because it's the same order being placed, the same long order, right? No, I'm not fake insider trading by saying it's going to go up or anything like that dude that got arrested for fake insider trading. No, it's purely technical based on literally just the same buyers, right? And it's information that we all have, right? We all have the same information. Again, an important trade to excuse me, to know because this sector again, this whole sector is going to be important this year. I've already said it. It's my number two sector for sure. For like the overall year for a long-term trade. Absolutely. And it continues to prove it. I mean, it's going to need to pull back. It's going to pull back, and it will pull back for it's going to be a long one, probably, right? The consolidation will be a long one. We'll get another, it moves in such a way that it's just going to produce patterns. That's just sort of what it does. Besides the volatility we got over here, which again is presidential election hedging, that's just volatility that we're not going to see again. So you can remove all of that and just quite literally connect the price in here. Other than that, you have consolidations followed by breakouts nonstop. It's going to show itself. Whether you have long-term positions that you can hold through a consolidation that lasts like a week or something, or if you have a position that you've just been pushing until you're waiting for it to come down a little bit, take profit. They all basically the same. One way. Going one way. Hey, the ship is freed. I'm watching it right now. Look at it go. I mean, I saw the headline, but I didn't really believe it because they've said this multiple times. Oh, we refloated the boat. But now it's really moving. Unbelievable. 2021, and we finally, after a week, got a big ship unstuck. Should have got some Pepto-Bismol over there. Get a couple prunes out. Prune that ship out of there. Interesting that the average is coming down, but we're not really seeing it on any tickers that we're a part of. What are we looking at here? I don't know what we're looking at. Banks are about to return to break even. Value keeps going up. What is it? Just big tech again? Just fucking the average up? It's amazing how 5 tickers can now 6 tickers can influence the entire average of the market just by them being down. Amazing. you look at the price of the market and you're like, what is going on over here? The average is in one spot and then the other tickers are in God knows where. You can't even tell. It's almost pointless to look at the fucking average anymore. How many times do I have to say it? I know. Brian says we live in a society controlled by big stonks. We do. Jesus. you look at the Nasdaq and you'd think it's like Armageddon, but it's literally only 6 of the fucking tickers are down. The rest of them are all up. It's one of the strangest things ever. That this continues to happen. You get all this and you're like, wow, this is pretty bad over here. And you look at the other tickers, it's only 6 of them that are fucking down. The rest of them are up. What's going on here? Bullshit. Just trying to understand what's going on in the market. What's going on here? Like, we're down 0.5%, and then you look at other things that's fucking up 10%, 20%. I mean, basically every ticker I'm looking at is green right now, besides the ones that are just down from taking profit. But even those are going up. I'm not really. It's hard to follow sometimes. Hard to follow sometimes. Dow going to all-time high. The best part about the Dow is that it's such a terrible. It's not terrible, but the average is so messed up comparatively. It's just so different because they're all benchmarked differently to the Dow trying to be the perfect index, tracking all of the different sectors of our market. The perfect ratio, the perfect pricing and index. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you'll have like a ticker that's down 3%. One of them's up 0.5%, and then it's break even on the day. Like, oh, okay. Intel that's a pretty nice day. I was going to mention this in terms of the semiconductors. When we talk about whether or not you should be holding, I think this is a pretty obvious one that you hold on, right? No one's going, you know what, 0.5%, 1.5% on Intel. I better take profit from my position. Ooh boy, up over 4.5% on Friday. Better take profit on this. I mean, again, it's okay. Maybe it goes lower, but as if we're gonna exit from that, right? And this is again, it's going to happen. That's going to happen every single day. I mean, every single day. Here's some of our NASDAQ average here, Microsoft coming down. Again, the bank side opened lower, but they're all looking good. So coming from Thursday, this move would still be, I mean, it would still be a new trend if it's heading towards the upside. So it's going to be really interesting to see where banks go. I mean, whether it's themselves, but somebody's buying banks, obviously. So Salesforce is just ignore it. It's literally fucking terrible. Why it's a part of the Dow, I don't know. Goldman's already coming back from its low. This has already had some strange candles, and obviously there was some knowing on Friday already that Goldman was a part of that move. So Goldman was getting some selling on Friday already. How people know about these things and why they're allowed to trade on it, I have no idea. But I mean, it's not illegal to trade on information you know if no one's paying you to do it and you're not paying someone else for it. So I mean, it doesn't really fucking matter, I guess. But I still find it interesting that we allow some of these things to happen. But either way, the main Dow tickers look good. The Walmart move I've talked about. The fact that this didn't move with the rest of retail stores made this a nice buy down here. Talked about it, taking this trade here. Again, it's a part of the Dow trade, but it's a long-term trade. It's not really sexy. It's really stupid to think about trading the super Walmart, but I mean, it still produces a trend and it makes your life easy. So I kind of like life easy trades. I mean, I like to have some fun with trades. Like I had some fun with this last trade, but you need to put your capital somewhere else that you don't need to fucking worry about it every day. And you can actually put some money behind it, right? We'll take it. We'll take it. Love this move here. Waiting for this to get going here. It's stuck in the supply still. A lot of supply here on GE. A little bit too much going on there for me to look at that. AMC coming back. Where are we on AMD? Looking good. Fine. 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 Losing some movement. What, is everyone sleeping or what? Talking about the market. They're definitely not sleeping on Viacom because they're selling that one. Take me down, country road. We're gonna find out how far I'm willing to go for a meme right now. That's for sure. Like playing Limbo. And I don't usually play Limbo. Like physically or in the market. What am I ducking for cover for down here? I mean, I did buy over here and I'm down. That should say enough about the contracts I have that you can buy around here about 1% lower than where the price is now. And now I'm still down anyway. Lift me up. I'm diamond hands out of my mind, boys. Pick me up. I can't even do the we have astronauts at a level meme because I'm actually below. How do I say come save me down here? Like GME is like, hey guys, come save me. I'm up at 53. Come save me. I'm down here. How the fuck do I ask people to save me? Dig a hole? Doesn't even make sense. My option chart doesn't even show me up there. I'm just down. Unbelievable. Exactly. Brian says it exactly how it is. Traders who are down are bad. That's why I put it in the Cosa Nostra account, so it doesn't look like I'm down on my average. No one will ever know. We're going to be making some money on Rad, though. These contracts are up. Surprisingly. Surprisingly from support. I think it's just quite a bit of movement. I also think that's in the wrong spot, by the way. I mean, when I take a trade... okay. Let's get the memes out of the way, because I did say I'm joking, and it's like a bit of satire. Obviously, it's a bit of satire. But, I mean, I'm not going to put money behind something unless I actually think I have a chance of making money, right? Like, there's got to be some sort of chance. If I buy Rad down here, it's not because I think it's a joke. And, yeah, I mean, okay, I might think it's a joke, but it's not that I don't think I'm not going to make money. I can trade meme stocks and still think I'm going to make money, right? Let's get that out of the way before anyone gets butt hurt. Same with Viacom, I'm buying at a low. No, it's not a part of my rules, but do I think I'm going to make money on this? Yeah, I think I'm going to make money on it. So do I need karma? Do I need to post it on Wall Street Bets? Do I need to post it on Twitter? No, I don't need to do that. I know some of you need that attention, and there's actually no one here that's like that. Shut up. There are people out there that need karma on Reddit from posting silly plays, and losing money doesn't feel as bad when the internet enjoys it. No, that's not why I'm making that trade. I do think I'm going to make money. So things can be a joke and a meme, but still make money, right? An important factor. I don't think I have another level here. Where's my next? There's not really a level on this chart. Okay, maybe around here. 65, 60. Okay. We have some stuff here. It's really not consistent though. Around 65 and a half, 65 and a half to 65, 80 or something. Some sort of range in here. We're coming into some sort of range. I'll monitor that. It's kind of hard to read up here. The other levels are really easy to read. Up here is just a little bit more of a mess, because it just trades through it. Everything is just basically trade through here, so all you got are trend lines when it comes through. I mean, again, other than some highs that are localized. See how that works. It's rallying through here, like it wants to go somewhere. Hard to judge sometimes on these tickers that have downtrended for so long, how far people are willing to push. Once you, like, what I mean is, when you get out of this level of supply here, like, it's one thing to expect price to come into here, and then the question is, well, now you don't have any really true levels. Yeah, there's some levels here. I can find some. But a lot of this is just, again, trending. So when you come out of this much of a low, you don't really have a cap on how high you can go, right? Yeah, here's the maximum up in the 70s. So is that where we're going? Well, it looks like that's what it is for so far. But the problem is that you don't know how to react to the move that happens in here. If this price pulls down, I'm just going to have to take profit because I don't really know where my transition points are. I don't really have a target up here. So I'm just going to get out of the position until it pulls back and then starts to go back the other way, right? That's kind of that's what makes these hard here is you just kind of have to play your own level of risk. Just keep pushing the trade here until it takes profit. If it takes too much profit relative to the move where it is now, then, I'll use everything relative to this candle now, basically, because it's on its own now. On its own, see what we get. I mean, it's great. I mean, it's honestly, it's great. It's a lot of points. It's just you don't really have anywhere to transition from now. Okay. Seeing if X is going to break that. It came right up to the high. If we break that, then, I mean, we haven't done it before, so if we do break the sort of 25 area right here, then, I mean, that's the next step, so we're ready for it. That's why I talk about every time we take these trades, it's one thing for us to take these trades and to try to push it to, like 20% or something, right? Like, oh, this is great. Perfect. quite a few 100% on the options. Awesome. That makes up for my other losses and gives me some gain. But when every time you take these trades, no matter where it is, you have to still give yourself room to keep pushing the trade. Just like when we first took the trade, right? You make a killing on it. But if you're not prepared for a long-term trade to come through, then you make nothing. You only make what you got. You have to take everything or just be given what you're given. I'm going to try to take everything. I don't know how much we're going to take, but again, if you look at the 25 here, there's nothing above there. There's nothing above there. That's the dream. That's the dream up there. You take this trade from here, you get this and this. You tell Greg, hey, Greg, I'm still pushing my extra. He goes, wow, really? I just took profit right here. Took profit at open on Monday. They're like, oh, man, that sucks, Greg. Waiting for that time, right? Waiting for it. And I mean, it doesn't need to do that. We're all perfectly happy either way. But again, it's the point of when you take that trade, you can't just make the short-term trade there. You can never go, oh yeah, this is only going to be a swing up to the resistance. We never trade like that, right? We always are ready for that next sort of path coming out of it, right? Which is a lot of upside. You never know when it's gonna do that, but you have to be prepared for it, plan for it. Sometimes you make that trade where you're planning for a lot more upside and you get stopped out, right? You don't know if you're getting stopped out or you're going to the moon. That's the whole point. What you're paying for. A lot of price action in there so far, that's for sure. Getting back into all this mess, so that's going to be fun. Discovery? Little... okay, here it comes. Now it's coming on. Now it's coming over. We'll leave them be. We will leave them be. Billy's coming down. That's what I want to see. Billy's coming. We're really low on volume today. I would say we're pretty low on volume. Again, there was some anxiety coming into the day, absolutely. And again, there's take profit coming from the ton of buying that came from Thursday, Friday. So again, there should be an expected amount of take profit, but there was anxiety coming in, which should be good by through the week, right? Should be good. We like some fear. Everything is just basically making the same. I mean, as much as the average is kind of being dictated by some big tickers, I mean, some of these. I mean, the Dow is so funny. I mean, look at the Dow is just so stupid to look at sometimes, right? Look at the average on the Dow. Like it's so silly to look at sometimes because you know this is not how the prices are moving whatsoever. And so it's like, what do I even look at this for? Like, what is even the point of me looking at this right now? Other than the fact that I have some contracts ETF'd tied to this. I mean, other than that, it almost never even helps. You go look at the Dow tickers. They're completely spread across. Completely spread across. I mean, it even makes sense. Either way. That's why we trade it. The whole reason why we trade it. It doesn't do anything. It literally does nothing. Sits there, hangs out. And then when it moves, it's like, holy shit, it's moving? Well, we better pay everyone in the options a lot of money. What was going on with Apple right now? Let's see. Apple's sitting on, so Apple is the other trade. We didn't really look at it. All the mega caps were trading down, but this was still up on the day. Apple looking very good. So this trade's working out again so far. Again, how quickly do we get cucked? We'll see. We're trying to make the growth trade work from here. It's trading on this trend line still. We have an expectation of equities risk on. Is this going to move from here? I have no idea. Got no idea, but I'm willing to bet on it. That's for sure. Okay. I think we're just a little low. X just keeps going. Value just keeps going. Nice. Interesting spreads. Say anything about this thing or what? What is this article? Okay, let's see what's going on in here. Okay, now I understand. Gotcha. So Credit Suisse owned all of it. Credit Suisse and Nomura owned all of it through swaps. I was wondering what the fuck was going on. Yeah, the Discovery, Viacom, TME, Beidou, all of the tickers that sold off. Um, what was the name? Archegos? Is that how you pronounce it? Arch Archegos. Yeah, Archegos. The Huang guy from who used to be on Tiger. Um, so what they did, I didn't actually know that. I mean, obviously we knew there was linkage to other things, but we didn't know the exact way they were buying it or anything. And now we know why because so Archegos just through swaps bought everything, which means they don't technically own it. So they don't technically own it. So you know who technically owned all that? Credit Suisse. So makes sense why they're down here, right? All of the shit they owned is now worth junk. That's why. I mean, the way to put this, the way I can explain this in the best way, in a way we've talked about it before, is that when I say that the stock market is sort of the derivative of the options market, this hedge fund didn't buy any shares. They only bought derivatives. They traded everything through derivatives. You don't have to report derivatives. You don't report it to anything. You don't own any of the company, right? You literally just bought derivatives. You you bought options. And so what basically what they're doing is just like what we do is we bet on something, right? We're betting on a ticker and they do it through another institution. And instead of it being just options, they do it through this other derivative of equity swaps, which it's the same thing. It's the same thing as basically what we do, but it's the shares instead. It's not like you're betting on specific prices or something. You're literally just having another institution buy something and you're taking a higher risk through like a premium, right? So you're paying a premium, but you're not actually the one who owns it. Just like when we buy options, we don't technically own it, right? And so by doing so, they never had to report that they owned any of those companies. And so this is where the question coming into today, what we were talking about was that everyone had anxiety of what exactly all of those. It wasn't them who was selling it. It was Goldman and fucking Morgan, right? So why? Because it wasn't fucking anyone that was involved to begin with. It was Nomura and Credit Suisse that actually uh, held the other end of the swap. But again, so something to keep in mind is that that's how all these fucking phony hedge funds are now, right? I mean, I'm basically calling myself a phony institution myself, but I'm not an institution. I'm a fucking person, right? And so I don't buy shares. I buy options. I'm small, right? I don't raise capital or anything, right? And this is what other people do as well. These people that leave institutions, if they do want to start their own sort of hedge fund through their relationships, they get funding, right? But it's not enough funding to actually outright buy shares to actually make a big enough earning. And so what you have to do is trade derivatives, right? Now, SoftBank last year kind of changed things when they actually bought options. Instead, though, as most hedge funds do, swaps. That's what you do. You trade derivatives from another institution. So some prime broker, something will sell you a product, right, that offers a yield, and you don't have to report it, and you don't have to pay. You're able to basically get leverage, right? You're using leverage to lever up past how much you have. So let's say you're a 1 billion fund, you can probably lever up a few $1 billion, right? Instantly, right? There's not like you're just levering up. And so that's the whole point of using derivatives, right? What are we doing when we buy options? We're using leverage to buy something that we don't technically have the money to pay for, and we're trying to buy it at a different price, right? That we're literally just leveraging all the time, right? And whether you're trading a margin or not, it doesn't change the fact that you're paying a smaller price for something that's worth more, right? You're trading a product, you're not trading the actual thing. And so that's what a lot of these hedge funds do. And if you look up the guy, so the person that is trading at the Archegos place that this whole thing's about, he was charged with securities fraud and all kinds of shit. So he was kind of dismissed, started his own fund, and yeah, he got margin called. Hey man, can you cover that? Hold on, I'm gonna have to sell some stuff. Hold on. Hold on. Let me sell some things really quick. And by the way, I actually don't own anything, so I'm gonna have to hold on. I gotta call somebody. Let me just call somebody really quick. Hold on. I know you're calling me to pay something, but I'm gonna have to call someone else. But again, this is where the regulation part comes from, that it's just never gonna happen because this is how the whole system works. Right? That's how the whole system works on leverage. If there's no leverage, then there's no institutions. I don't know why we're still looking at the Credit Suisse. I don't know why I'm acting like it. If there's no leverage, then there's really nothing, right? The whole thing runs on credit. If we don't have credit, then so you have to kind of let some of these things happen. I mean, it's just yeah, and a good way to look at it is look at how much got lost on Friday in those tickers, and then look at the market. No one was affected. It literally doesn't make a blip. There was no other factors involved. It was literally only that, and that's why it makes sense to bet on it. It almost makes too much sense. And so, I mean, whether it goes up immediately or not, that's the point. But again, it's not like it affected the broader market. So I think there's like there's bad, it's like the wrong kind of ignorant anxiety that came in today. Not that the market's not showing it at all, but I think if you looked at headlines and things, there was obviously some understanding that there was some sort of anxiety about whether this would have effect on the rest of the market. But I mean, again, the over the counter market is so much larger than the actual. Okay, I shouldn't say that, but it's, well, I guess technically, if you add up all the over the counter market, it's more than the equity market. But that would be including bonds. But it's just not going to go away. Not going to happen. But I mean, that side of things is like is not something that most people do. Like the the swamps like that on a derivative, it's not even options, but like a derivative that another institution is giving you. It's that's like such a small thing. So it's like I just kind of fucking weird that yeah, I mean, I don't think I ever even saw one of those trades ever. To be honest with you, I don't think I've ever seen one of those trades before. Swaps are not, you know, swaps are not used for equities. That's just literally, it just doesn't exist. It's just not what you use it for. There's just so many good paths. The only reason you would do that is because there would be like a specific reason why you're trying to trade with another institution, or you're a fucking phony hedge fund. And you just have to, you can't have anything on your books. You just have to, you're like, you're wearing shorts with no underwear, basically. Yeah. Swaps are used for currency and fucking interest rates, or everyone's favorite credit default swaps that don't really exist much anymore. He says it's so in depth. I mean, here's where like the question becomes. It's like options are already complex derivatives. The swaps make it even more complex. No one understands that fucking math. Literally, the funniest part is that no one actually understands the math, and you're just told, especially when you work in an institution, you don't. I mean, there's things that you have to learn the math on, but you're told like you don't need to know how it works. You just trade it. It doesn't matter. But the point is that no one actually understands the fucking how it works. The guy who made it fucking 40 years ago is dead. And he never wrote a book about it, so we don't really fucking who knows. Oh, it's not worth anything today. Sorry, you have to pay us. Like that guy, the guy probably like shit himself because he was like, hold on, I'm getting margin called, and then he was like, hey, how much can I get for my swaps here? And then this is the problem is that as soon as somebody knows that you got margin called and you're gonna owe fucking money and that you need to exit, what do you think they're gonna do? You own something that's over the counter. You didn't buy it up from an exchange. You bought it from another fucking person, and highly doubtful you signed like some fucking contract on it. You just had a price, and now you have to sell it back, right? You literally bought something. You have to sell it back. What do you think they're gonna do? The one institution you bought it from, or in this case, two institutions. What do you think they're gonna do? Do you really think they're gonna give you a good fucking deal? Probably not, because they know you're in fucking debt and you already over leveraged in the first place. No, they're gonna fuck you just like you're getting fucked already. And that's where like if you knew the fucking math and you knew the price of what you bought, then you'd have no problem selling it back. But the fact that no one actually knows the fucking value of what you bought, you can never buy it back for a big price, which is exactly why the whole thing in the 80s with the bond market was such a revolutionary thing, was that we finally figured out how to price the value of bonds, and specifically on how they would be traded into the future. Before, everyone was terrible at pricing bonds. And so, yeah, if you needed to sell something, you'd have to sell them cheaper because no one knew what the fucking price was. Now we know the price, so now you can't be like, oh, I need to get out, and now I have to sell it for less. It's like, no, I know the price of this. I know the math. Here's the math. Here's the price. Here's the value. So you need to pay me the value. This kind of thing. No one. I promise that in that trade, they had no fucking clue, and they just had to get out of it. So here's the price. That's what we think it's worth. Do you know what it's worth? No? Well, then fucking pay us. Or we'll pay you that. That's it. Silly situation to get into for sure. I don't think we know what the rest of the margin call was on, though. I mean, if we didn't know, we already didn't know on Friday until later. We only knew that it was Goldman selling. We didn't even know until later that it was this fucking hedge fund. So, uh, again, we're not going to know the other side of the trade either, unless someone comes out and says something. GME bouncing all over the place. Just low volume. We're not really going. No one's really doing much of anything. I mean, I like for the bullish case. I do like the support building in here. We haven't really seen much of this intraday recently. Anyway, we're just sort of back and forth. Small caps are definitely still the side that's getting a lot of volatility. Those regional banks are just all over the place. I'm surprised it even opened up so high. You can, yeah, I mean, some of this is low volume. You can see with the higher volume of open, we're bid on banks, and then as soon as we start to lose the volume, it starts to sell diamond. That's literally the only story there. So it's gonna be one of those days. Start out Monday, little bit chill, not much accuracy. We got on the run trade over here. Back and forth. Hmm. Spot VIX is increasing at a higher rate than the spread. The spread is on S&P, which means the spot VIX is human after all, because it is reacting to volatility that does not show itself in the S&P on the negative side. That's a good sign. S&P is only down 0.5% basically. Spot VIX is up 13%. That's a new thing. Haven't seen that recently. Is it gonna stay? This is why you don't short the VIX. First of all, everyone shorts it, and so you actually don't even get a better yield than buying a bond. You could buy treasuries and get a better yield than shorting this here, which is why every time you trade it should just be to the long side, right? You try to catch the move. If you don't catch it, then it's almost impossible to trade it after the first tick to the upside because it just kind of again, the lag on it, the way the derivative works. There's too many algos. It's a fucking mess, right? Options are a nightmare. There's no point unless you're trying to capture a long move, and usually you're only making that long trade because you're trying to make a trade that you call it a hedge, but it's just a fake hedge against your position, right? So we'll see what this the only thing you can do again is to bet on volatility of volatility. That's the whole trade. Important to note, that's the only way to trade this, is you're betting on volatility of volatility. Just like we bet on more volatility coming, and that's what gives us a gain on the options. To trade volatility, I know it sounds weird, but it's not about the price being up or down. It's about the volatility being higher. That's the whole problem. That's literally the whole problem with this chart, is that where is it? It's just not there, right? Because it's not sustained. It's at random, right? And it's not correlated. It's not, the math isn't there. The math doesn't get backed up. VXX is just fucking down. If you short this here, you're going to get a lower yield than buying treasuries, and treasuries are guaranteed. So again, that's the fucking problem, and that's why we just don't use this. But I mean, it's nice that spot VIX is at least showing some a higher value compared to what we think in the market right now, which should be some elevated anxiety levels. We should be able to see that in the VIX. Well, it's there today. I mean, that's a fucking start. Not like they started calculating it different, but it's at least showing itself because the S&P is only down 0.5%, so 60 basis points. So it's definitely up more than that's down. So, and this is just take profit from Friday. So it's at least calculating some of it. Not sure what that means going forward, but it is something to note. Certainly something to note. If it stays up there. If it just randomly comes, if it goes up and then comes back down by lunch, then, oh, okay, well, case closed. This still doesn't matter. Still doesn't matter. FYI, since Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley were the ones that sold it on the equity side, right? So again, Archegos had this margin call. They made some private transaction to sell off this shit that they didn't own, but they were selling derivatives, right? And so then after they sold that to Credit Suisse or whatever, so Credit Suisse was the one who actually owned it. So Archegos sold, or basically exited their position from Credit Suisse and whoever the other institution was, and then that then gets sent to Goldman Sachs and Morgan to go sell the block trades because that's what they do, right? They're going to facilitate liquidity there to get out of those positions. That would mean if any anxiety of more of those block trades coming this week, the market would know about. We may not have really known Friday. I mean, we already knew Goldman and Morgan were part of it because the fucking street talks. If there were more coming, if there were more block trades coming, the whole market would know. There is no secret. There is no secret after it already happens. And that's why I talk about selling. Doesn't just it doesn't happen multiple times in a row. You do it all at once. You're gonna sell something, you sell it all. You don't just sit there and sell a quarter of it, maybe sell half tomorrow. You don't do that because everyone now knows. If there were more block trades coming, the whole fucking market would know and we would have already done something. Right now, everyone's just trading like usual and there's a little bit less volume. So again, think about it, right? If we already think that these greedy fuckers know everything anyway and are going to trade on everything, don't you think they would already be trading if something else was going to happen, right? Let's just be honest, right? So just to put that out there, right? If there was more, everybody already fucking knows. So what I know, you would know. It doesn't make a difference, right? Journalists wouldn't keep asking the question. They'd be writing about it. The market wouldn't be sitting wondering. They'd be trading it. Things either are or are not. And something's already happened or it's not going to happen. That's the fucking reality. And that's why we watch price. That's why we watch price. Because if that did happen, we would be able to tell in the price. You'll be able to always tell in price before anyone else fucking knows. So again, it didn't happen in price. And so now, if anybody knew, then we would all know, right? That's the thing to take away. You would know in price, or everyone already fucking knows. It's not like a secret. It's not a secret if things start to happen somewhere, right? Like, wonder what the fuck that is. I really wonder why Credit Suisse is down 12% right now. What is it doing down here? Who and what? How did that happen? Where's my article? Now, it's obviously a shock to whoever was in here, besides the selling that happened on Friday. People obviously knew. But it's a shock to some people. I mean, somebody knew. Somebody obviously knew. It's a shock to the other fucking shareholders, that's for sure. Like, oh, we were in a really bad deal? Nice. Sweet. Awesome job, guys. Awesome. We were doing great. Credit Suisse was doing great. All the banks were doing great. All financial institutions were doing fucking perfect. Really makes you think. And that's where the selling that happened here is just it just doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense. What's the point? Literally, what's the point? Other than just to continue the trend here, which is fine. But let's just be honest. It doesn't really make sense. Someone just doesn't want to. I mean, it's not even a person. That's the thing. It's just fucking algos trading news. Some quant somewhere. Obviously not long position. How we doing on Discovery? Let's take a look. I thought that was the 5-minute candle. Like, whoa, what happened? 5 minutes. Take a look. Still up. Still up. Down 1.69er. Okay. Up on that position. I am green on that position. Viacom, we're down. Possibly found support. I'm down about, overall, I'm down about 6,000. Down about 6,000. Down the most on Viacom. Discovery was definitely the less volatile because you could see how those were down a little bit. Then they're like break even and positive today. It's just less movement comparatively. Viacom was fucking up a ton, down a ton. I also bought really stupid calls, obviously, so. Yeah, we're down about 6,000. Within a margin of error. And again, the funniest thing is that it moves as soon as it goes positive, so that's kind of what I'm banking on. I will at least break even on this trade. Get somebody to buy it. Z is a little bit harder to gauge. A little bit harder to gauge. I think I just kind of want to be in that position, even though it's downtrending. With all of the home builders moving and everything else breaking out. Wonder what the best way to take that is. Maybe you have to wait till tomorrow. Really don't want to, though. I mean, I guess it doesn't fucking matter, right? The Z's a tough one, though. Z is definitely a tough trade. It's become a tough trade. Because it feels like you have to wait, so you just have to wait for it, which is not how I like trades. So maybe we just need to remove it. Remove it until a breakout. That's probably the best bet. Remove it from the radar until the breakout. It's got a nice consolidation going. It's obviously consolidating a big, quick move. Okay. I'll let that one slide. Let it slide. It should converge with the rest, though. Should converge. Small caps continue. There's just banks. I believe that's just banks. See if it holds around here. I don't think we have much of anything tied to this. Don't think so. Yeah, again, this average is not the greatest. Not the greatest anymore. Because we don't really have any positions tied to it. We're just looking at it in the sense of, okay, here's small caps, here's where they're at. Not really tied to our value trade anymore. We converted everything to the larger cap side through the Dow value plays, and besides the banks, that's it. Interesting how that changed up. Looks like it's gonna just be a sideways day, which is nice because I have to get out of here actually. I'm looking at for Google. So Google still worries me a little bit up here. Not that it matters if it's up or down here, but in terms of holding this level, it should hold this level. Absolutely. But it's coming into tightening here, so you want to see this go to the upside. For instance, for it to keep going. Because again, it's created this very strong level of support. So I expect it to just continue to hold. But it's at the point of tightening here, and it hasn't really done this yet. It hasn't really tightened like this before. we expect equities to be risk on. Absolutely. But it's important that this goes to the upside here for that to be true, because there's a lot of points to lose here. And it's really not the points on Google that matter. It's not going to affect the market average or anything like that. But the time involved with this makes the whole thing kind of, things don't really add up. They wouldn't add up if it came down here. And so, again, when you look at the whole equity market, and especially the growth side's coming back. Google held strong through all of that market. Google came past its all-time high well before the rest of the growth market, right? And it's held this level. It's held the value, which is great. It shows that it's very strong. It's not tradable, so we can't trade it. Even though it's tightening here, we can't even take a trade. It's just not a trade, right? It's a you want to buy a share, that's, I guess, great, but it's not really tradable. But the fact that it's here tightening, you definitely, for the growth side, need to keep an eye on Google, because if it does break down, then it's going to have an effect on all of it. Because if that's not going to hold its value, then, I mean, are these going to come back? Google's like significantly past its all-time high, and these are significantly away from their all-time high in like a relative sense. It's not that far away, relatively, right? It's right there, which is why it's so funny to think that we're actually right at all-time highs on everything. But still, this is pretty far away from its all-time high, and lower comparatively to Google, right? For all things, so into the value market. But if Google comes down, then what are the chances of that these continue? What's the chance that Facebook continues, right? These things will matter. And so I am keeping an eye on that, because that's the first time we've really seen that. The benefit here is that Google does not really get beat up by the options. It's hard to trade the options. No one's really sticking around with them. They're just not. It's not really existent on the movement, which is why you see barely any volatility here. So it's not like some event's going to cause it to come down here. We'll see. Very interesting day. Very interesting day so far. I would say the take profit is average right now so far. They're all at 69. That's a nice meme. Small cap's the only thing still taking profit, but at this point we don't really know exactly all the tickers there, and it's definitely nothing that we're really watching a part of at this point, because we're avoiding anything that's not going towards the upside. That's for sure. Take one look at the Dow. BA taking off some of those gains from earlier. Still very nice trend, of course. Still waiting for the banks involved. Pretty decent take profit days, I guess. Okay. And the value side is definitely doing better in terms of its take profit day. To be expected. Visual says ATVI. Coming up. Oh, now we're on the 3-day. Beautiful. Just what we want. ATVI coming up here, following what's to be expected for a trend. We'll see. I mean, it's going to take some time to get through, through this space, but I think it's pretty reasonable what I have thrown out there. I didn't really put I didn't put that big of a target on there. Back to the high. We'll judge it from there, right? I think at this point, that's plenty. Obviously, got a few different similar tickers with that EA. There's a lot of ties to the retail side and anything consumer wise. which I don't know if we're grouping everything consumer together, but at this, I mean, you have to start to populate the idea at least that anything consumer on the consumer side is affected by inflation, which is why you see so many of these retail stores, food and beverage, anything that has to do with inflation in spending, anything spending wise is going to get affected in the same way that I talk about when something happens with supply and there's less supply and it's going to drive prices up. It'll happen on the equity side. Like equities are just going to get affected, right? I mean, it's a, and you can see it with price. That's the best part. You don't need to, it's going to take 9 months. It's going to take 9 months to go see that on a fucking balance sheet and see it in the earnings. We're not going to wait 9 months for fundamentals, right? I don't think so. We'll do it now, right? We'll take it off the price movement, right? Oh yeah, I bet consumers will spend more money in the future. Are we going to wait for them to spend more money, or are we going to just trade it before they fucking spend it, right? It's usually how it works. Aren't we speculating then? Is anyone really fundamentally trading then? If we're all just speculating? Oh, right, we are. Because when fundamentals and earnings come out, we're just fucking reacting to whether what we speculated was correct or not. Oh, earnings were up? Oh, good, because I bet on everything going up, so let me take my profit now. Perfect. It's so good. It's like we're all trading 9 months early anyway, so at least. So even from a fundamental, that's the whole fundamental standpoint. They're literally trading 9 months in the fucking future. So, and just like a company doesn't make a decision for today or tomorrow, they're making decisions for a year from now, 2 years from now. Why do we? No one trades price on the what's going on now. No one cares, unless it's a boat stuck in the canal. Push it. I mean, you could make. This is where you can't use all analogies for everything. Because you could say, well, the ship is stuck, so it's a now thing. And that's like saying, well, I've got a shit stuck myself, and that's a now thing, and I need to deal with that now. I mean, it's just not how prices always work, right? So not all dumb analogies work. That's just gross. Okay, folks. Enjoy your lunch. Very low volume trading day so far. No one should be getting hurt, that's for sure. In the sense that, is the worst yet to come? I mean, it depends on whatever you think this is. So you would have already done something if you need to do something, right? You would have already taken profit. You're going to take profit. You would take profit rate 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. Or you just woke up and you don't know yet, right? So again, lunch is lunch. I don't think we have very good accuracy on price right now. So I'm not going to make too many decisions based off of low accuracy, lower volume. Again, a lot of my positions are for longer term. Most are from Thursday, so I'm using Friday as a bit of a proxy day in terms of its level. Depending on how many points are there, again, there's plenty of tickers on the growth side that are just not going to work out. Anything value oriented certainly have the legs to keep going, and most of those are all up. So again, those are not. No matter what happens with those, there's basically no profit being taken there. Otherwise, I don't want to be entering anything during lunch anyway. So we'll see what happens in the afternoon. So I'll see you guys this afternoon. I do need to run. So enjoy your lunch, drink some water, have some fun. I'll see you guys in a bit.